Back in 2018, Murda Beatz was everywhere, the hottest producer in hip-hop. This white dude from Canada was literally landing hit after hit with superstar rappers such as Drake, Travis Scott, Nicki Minaj, and the Migos, among countless others. 5 years ago, you could not escape Murda Beatz' signature trap sound, especially his unforgettable producer tags.
Murder on the beat, so it's not nice. Murder.
At the peak of his success, Murda even signed to Interscope Records and announced his debut album in 2020. But mysteriously though, that project never released. And ever since then, it's honestly felt like Murda Beatz disappeared. In a previous interview, Murda, quote, fearfully observed producers get too comfortable in their success. However, is that simply what happened here to Murda Beatz? Or did something far more sinister go down? In a world today full of tight beat producers everywhere you look, after first starting as one himself selling his beats on YouTube for as little as $50, it's honestly extremely impressive how big and how fast Murda Beatz was able to grow his brand.
I had everyone talking shit at me at school, everyone was making fun of me.
Really?
Teachers made fun of me. Principal told me there's only one Dr. Dre, not to do this as a career path.
Basically in a span of just 5 years, Shane Lindstrom of Ontario, Canada was able to go from a Travis Barker-obsessed drummer in his bedroom to then a multi-platinum Grammy Award-winning producer with major hits like Nice for What, Butterfly Effect, Motorsport, 4am, and 6ix9ine's Fifi, to name a few. You pull up any hip-hop playlist from 2017 or 2018, and I guarantee it won't be long until you hear one of his beats. Shane and his Murda Gang brand got so popular that he not only signed to Interscope Records in 2019 as an artist in his own right, but then also went as far as to launch his own record label, Murda Beatz Recordings, that same year. However, as we're about to see though, it wasn't long after starting his own record label that everything suddenly changed for Murda Beatz, and not exactly for the better. With many fans now left wondering if Murda Beatz even still makes music, this raises the question, can producers fall off just like rappers do? Well, in order to fully grasp why Murda Beatz is making the career-altering decisions he currently is, it's important for us to first understand where he even came from. Like a lot of people who make music today, prior to getting flown out to Atlanta by the Migos, Murda Beatz first began producing on an illegal download of FL Studio. Fueled by his desire to never work a 9-to-5 day job, after his high school friends introduced him to FL, 17-year-old Murda Beatz immediately knew what he wanted to do for the rest of his life.
One of my boys introduced me to FL Studio, and I was like, shit, but I was like trying to use it and stuff, taught myself how to use it. And that's when I sold my electric drums for an MPK-49 keyboard. And then just started, I didn't even know how to play piano. I was just like, I remember being in music class, they wouldn't let me play the piano. They wanted me to always play the trumpet, so I dropped out of music class in high school.
Deciding on the name Murda Beatz when forced to title his YouTube channel in 2011, with his reasoning, quote, because I murder the beats. In addition to playing the drums as a kid, Murda Beatz essentially self-taught himself everything when it comes to producing. However, there are literally millions of hip-hop type beats posted to YouTube every single year. So what made this guy so special? Yo Drake, Canadian producer, Murda tweeted in December of 2011, "What's your email? I got a beat, your type." Drake never responded initially, but combined with hours of relentless hard work, it was Murda Beatz' persistent drive and marketing tactics that broke him into the industry, such as how he explains landing his first placement with the late LA rapper Nipsey Hussle.
I hit Nip up on Twitter. I saw him tweet at like 3 a.m. And like what I used to always do is I would always just like pay attention when people tweet. So it's like if they just tweet, they're on their phone. So I would hit him up like, yo, Murda Beatz, Migos producer. Like he just DM'd me. He was like, yo, pull up to the studio tomorrow at 3. And I was like, bet. And I pulled up.
Taking full advantage of early social media and the networking ability of messaging his favorite rappers over Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, within the first 3 months of producing, Murda Beatz was able to land his first major placement with Soulja Boy, a track titled Young N-Word Remix alongside Minneapolis rapper Rocky Diamonds.
I'm pulling up Ferrari, got your bitch not saying sorry. You old school like Atari, I be new like Safari.
I learned early in the game that it is better to move around and meet people and build relationships, Murda stated in regards to his come-up. With that in mind, at the age of 18, Murda decided to move to Chicago, and from there he quickly networked himself onto songs with Chicago drill stars Chief Keef and Lil Durk, all thanks to, again, simply DMing them and their team over Twitter. However, Murda Beatz was determined to expand further than just the Chicago scene, and as after then discovering one of the most successful rap groups in history on Dat Piff right before they blew up, Murda was able to then finesse his way onto a free flight to Atlanta.
I'm building my name in the Chicago scene. Now I need to get in Atlanta. Atlanta's like, that's the bread and butter. Like, it's like, that's what I gotta get into, you know what I mean? At those times, I was always on Dat Piff live mixtapes and stuff, and I saw these guys, the Migos, and like, I listened to their stuff. I'm like, this shit just sounds so different. The way they're rapping and stuff, I'm like, I know this is gonna be something because it sounds like nothing. So I hit them up on Twitter.
Through reaching out to the Migos' close associate, Skippa Da Flippa, on Twitter, the Migos then decided to fly Murda out and meet them in person. One of the main reasons why. Migos flew me out to see if I was actually making the beats myself. They didn't expect a white kid from Canada to be making harder beats than guys in Atlanta. With a name like Murda Beatz, people aren't expecting me to look how I do, Murda told the New York Times, also mentioning there were essentially 0 white producers in the trap scene when he started, but that's one of the main reasons it works so well, the surprise factor.
When people hear Murda on the beats and they don't know what you look like, they automatically assume you're probably a black kid.
At the beginning, it was like people told me I couldn't make rap music because I wasn't black.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, like it was like people were giving me like a hard time.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. I don't put like a race on music, you know?
Yeah, of course.
But following our chat over DM, Migos and Murda Beatz linked in Atlanta and got straight to work. As he recalls actually moving in with the Migos for a period of time living out of a local studio, cranking out at least 5 to 10 songs on a daily basis. Murda Beatz had slowly been building a name for himself, but it wasn't until a year later when his life changed forever. Thanks to 2 main reasons. First of all, although Murda was able to secure placements on Migos' 2014 mixtape No Label 2, those songs such as Emmett Smith and Copy Me were not big hits in the mainstream. So while Migos had already dropped their breakout, Zaytoven produced Versace plus the classic Drake remix that followed, as well as hits like Handsome and Wealthy and Fight Night on that same mixtape. Murda Beatz, on the other hand, was unable to land that first mainstream smash with the Atlanta trio. Well, that was until only 1 year later when they dropped their 2015 hit Pipe It Up, taking the internet by storm.
Hell yeah. That was the one. Yeah, Pipe It Up. Because, you know, like, the first record that how the dab actually started was Emmett Smith back in 2013.
Facts.
That was, like, what really started the dab, but Pipe It Up really, like, blew up the dance move and got Barack Obama doing it and stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Facts.
With currently over 26 million views on YouTube alone, Pipe It Up was massive for not only the Migos, but also for Murda Beatz, easily the biggest song of his early career. However, something else also happened though behind the scenes that truly exploded Murda's career. One day while home in Canada in 2014, Murda Beatz would cross paths with this guy, Corey Litwin, at their mutual jewelry store. As a jeweler himself selling gold and diamond grills on the side, Litwin is also a staple in the Toronto nightlife scene, with connections anywhere you could ever want. But once again, it was Murda Beatz' determination and networking ability that paid off, as despite not being in the hip-hop industry, Corey Litwin then agreed to become Murda Beatz' manager. He was very persistent and hit me up like 15 times in 5 days, recalls Litwin, who ran in the same circles as local superstars Drake and The Weeknd. I thought I could use him to get me to everyone in Toronto, Murda said. And I did, Litwin added.
And I went to go drop off some molds, and the security at the jewelry store is like, yo, Corey, you should meet this guy. He's a dope producer. And it's like I told you, people are always trying to meet me, tell me different things, yada, yada, I should be the man. And I'm like, oh, whatever. I see his Instagram. Oh, he has 10,000 followers. That's crazy. And it says he's worked with all these cool like underground street guys like Migos. Never had an album yet. Chief Keef. And it says Lil Durk. And I think it said like Rich Homie Quan and Young Thug. This is also 2014, so they're very small then. But I liked how different this brand was. Murda Beatz, this white kid from Canada, is doing this. You know what I mean? This is so different. Yeah. Like that. And then
work ethic was like,
absolutely. Work ethic. And a lot of that work ethic, yes, making beats, but also hitting me a couple times a day for a week until I'd agree to meet someone.
Together, the two dominated the next few years, as Murda Beatz had become a household name by 2018. In addition to releasing his own mixtape, Keep God First, featuring countless popular hip-hop artists, again, the list goes on forever of hit songs that Murda Beatz produced prior to 2020. From one of his and my favorite beats he's ever made, Nice for What, still one of the biggest hits of Drake's career, sampling Lauryn Hill's 1998 X Factor.
No, like he wanted to like sample like a female's voice. It was like me, my manager Corey, Drake, and like his engineer. He just wrote the record and cut it, and it was like done in like hour and a half.
It's crazy.
Crazy. We knew we had a special record too. Like we both look at each other like, yo, this is crazy. This is special.
Nice for What was a smash, and for good reason. Spending a total of 8 weeks atop the Billboard Hot 100, this was only one of Murda Beatz' hit collabs with his fellow Canadian star, going on to collaborate on multiple of Drake's biggest albums.
And then one day on a song, he just said, Murda on the beat, so it's not nice. So I started throwing it on beats and stuff, and then Drake, he's like, yo, every beat you send me, just start putting that on there, and then it just went.
Crazy.
Back in 2018, Murda Beatz had quickly risen to the top of the producer rankings and had formed relationships with damn near every major artist in the game. However, as we're about to see though, this has only made his recent disappearance even more confusing. But back at this time pre-pandemic, it was the complete opposite, as you truly could not escape Murda and his beats, racking up numerous awards and millions of streams, from A-list superstar artists such as Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Travis Scott, Gucci Mane, Juice WRLD, Lil Baby, Lil Durk, Lil Uzi Vert, and of course plenty more songs with his good pals the Migos, plus an entire collab project with buzzing SoundCloud rapper Smoke Perp. Artists were constantly craving that signature Murda Beatz sound, and the hits just kept on coming. But as Murda's beats continued spreading, so did his personal brand. After officially trademarking his name in 2018, he began often listing himself as a featured artist in his song titles, similar to how other producers do it today, such as Metro Boomin, Mustard, or Mike Will made it, for example. Establishing his brand and image, Murda Beatz still wasn't satisfied though. So, as one of the final stepping stones in cementing himself as the next super producer turned artist curator and label, after signing to Interscope Records himself in 2019, Murda Beatz would also launch his own record label imprint that same year, Murda Beatz Recordings, going on to sign his first artist, Adam Holiday, in August.
You got some dude Adam that I was just seeing his shit popping up saying that you signed him?
Yeah, I got Adam Holiday. He's fire.
Really? He's
from the UK, grew up in Philly. He's gonna be a big star.
Really?
Signed like an artist deal with Interscope.
Congratulations.
Dropping my own records, got my own label.
Congrats,
doing
man.
Like the Murda Gang gamer stuff, you know, esports stuff. You know, I'm going to DJ esports tournament in Vegas like this week and stuff. So that's really expanding, you know.
The accomplishments just continued pouring in for Murda Beatz, who at the time was only 25 years old. People get content, Murda explained to the New York Times. They buy their house, their cars, their grills, and they get comfortable. But I'm not here to be hot for a year. However, little did he know that only a year later in 2020 would come the COVID pandemic, putting an abrupt stop to a lot of things, including Murda Beatz' generational run, as he has yet to see that same success since. In the spring of 2020, Murda Beatz announced his full-length debut album under Interscope, titled Murda She Wrote, with a release date set for June 2020. But despite 2 singles released likely for the album, Shopping Spree with Lil Pump and Sheck Wes and Banana Split featuring YNW Melly and Lil Durk, Murda Beatz' highly anticipated debut album would mysteriously never drop, and was basically forgotten about forever, with no reasons given from Murda or his team, simply silence. And those next 2 years, 2020 and 2021, only continued to watch Murda Beatz stay out of the spotlight. Well, for the most part. Depending on who you ask, Murda Beatz may or may not have secured another #1 hit in 2021. Okay, Rap Star that's currently on YouTube was only produced by Einer and Cinco, posted Polo G to his story. Not only that, but you know damn well ain't nobody helped me write it. So for Murda and his camp to keep posting that is lame as hell. Back in April of 2021, Polo G's new single, Rap Star, became the #1 song in the entire world. But clearly there was controversy over who actually produced the beat. Another #1. Proud of this one, congrats to everyone involved, Murda posted, celebrating the song's success, showing on the second slide that his name was indeed listed on the song's Spotify credits. Murda had worked with Polo G previously on songs such as Beautiful Pain and Doors Unlocked, but Polo clearly had an issue here with him taking credit for working on Rap Star, Polo G's first #1 hit of his career. Original creators always get credited on songs, even if they're remade. Nothing but love, reads this since-deleted tweet from Murda Beatz. According to Murda, he claims he had worked on a previous rendition of Rap Star, leading to him being credited, although the entire situation is still very blurry, and still confuses even the other creators behind the song.
Let's go crazy. So the song dropped, it went #1, like 2 weeks passed, and then we find out about that. Like nothing was even brought up, and then there was a post made about it. So I guess he had writing credits on it or something like that, but as far as the production of the beat, that was me and my boy Cinco had been the ones who produced that.
Okay.
But regardless of whether or not he actually worked on the beat for Polo G's Rap Star, again, Murda Beatz would land significantly less placements following the pandemic, while also attempting to venture into the pop world, with his only real standout songs being 2 Ariana Grande tracks on her album. And as it now turns out, there was a deeper reason for his absence: label issues. And yes, fans took notice that this low output was very strange compared to what we were used to from Murda Beatz. Like, just look at the comparison of his releases through the years. So, what really happened? Why did Murda Beatz disappear? Well, the truth is, staying relevant in the fast-paced, ever-evolving world of hip-hop and maintaining a popular brand can not only be extremely difficult, but also extremely exhausting. That constant pressure to keep up with trends and stay on top is immense. Not to mention touring and living life on the road, burnout is a very real thing for producers, especially in the streaming era. Combined with all of the different sounds that come and go, as fans as well as artists are always on the search for something fresh, the next big thing.
Just trying to like stay inspired and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like where I'm at in my career, it's not all about just like making 30 beats a day like I used to, you know? I got a lot more like DJing, branding stuff, trying to drop my own singles. It's like a lot more to it than just like making beats every day, you know?
And although Murda himself has hinted at this multiple times in previous online interviews, fearfully observing producers get too comfortable in their success, Murda Beatz' first move to begin 2022, though, seemed to be a sign of the direction his career was headed. In January of 2022, it was announced that Murda Beatz had sold his entire catalog of 285 songs to a Canadian music rights management company known as Kilometer Music Group. As the article states, in addition to also acquiring the rights to rapper Bryson Tiller's catalog, this acquisition consisted of hits by Drake and Murda Beatz, including Portland, Elevate, No Long Talk, With You, and the #1 Billboard hit Nice for What, as well as Travis Scott's Butterfly Effect, plus Nipsey Hussle's biggest release, Grinding All My Life, and a quote 42-song stake in the Migos catalog, including Motorsport. We were not told the total amount that Murda Beatz made with this deal, but I can guarantee you he secured an absolutely insane bag here. Kilometer has quietly been making big moves and is building something special, stated Murda about the decision to sell his music rights. Rodney Murphy has supported me from day one, and there is no company I trust more with my catalog than Kilometer. Here in 2024, we have seen a handful of major artists sell the rights to their catalogs for unbelievable amounts of cash. However, while this doesn't necessarily mean an artist is nearing the end of their career, even Murda himself has admitted that after achieving everything he has at such a young age, it can often be difficult to keep pushing and stay creative in such a fast-moving industry.
Does it still feel the same?
Nah, I don't think anything, and everything feels different like the second time, third time around, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely doesn't, but you just gotta keep finding new ways to excite yourself.
At this point, it is clear that Murda Beatz is making business decisions that will set him up for the rest of his life. And although, unfortunately for fans, this has led to far less music released, after getting out of his record deal with Interscope in 2021, Murda Beatz is now entirely independent, allowing him the freedom to do honestly whatever he wants, a luxury that he's earned through years of hard work.
I got out of a deal with Interscope like last year, and then I decided like this time around, just, you know what I'm saying?
Level
Go
up.
Independent, own the masters, and just build and just work and just have fun. And like, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of like drop when I want to drop, do what I want to do.
In addition to also playing DJ sets, Murda Beatz is still producing, but in a much quieter behind-the-scenes fashion, on his own timing. His focus with beats is more selective, less in the spotlight, and with more emphasis on quality over quantity, with a goal to also not just work with artists who have a big name, but rather people he has a genuine connection with, such as his collab project last year with Baltimore rapper Shorty Shorty. Now, it's also important to note that the Migos' decline and eventual end after Takeoff's tragic passing in 2022, their lack of hit songs these past few years has also played a role too, as Migos were one of his closest collaborators from the beginning. I just want to have fun making music and don't want to be put in a box, Murda states. That's what being a super producer means to me. Hearing Murda Beatz' iconic producer tag is far more of a rare occurrence here in 2024. However, the truth is, Murda Beatz is totally okay with that. Now at 30 years old, while he may not be dominating the charts like he was just a few years ago, Murda Beatz' impact on hip-hop is undeniable.